Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. At this time, I will call into open session the meeting of the Arlington Independent School District Board of Trustees for April 5th, 2018, beginning at 7:05 p.m. I want to thank everyone for coming out and joining us this evening. With that, we would like to start our meeting with the opening ceremony. Please join Trustee Christine Hudson in leading us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Kristen.
Please join me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And ladies and gentlemen, thank you for that. I've been serving with Kristen Hudson for 3 years, and I should be able. It's the one-time fill-in jitters that I've got tonight. President Reich is getting continuing education credit for his pharmacy license in Houston this weekend, so he is unable to join us. I would like us to please silence our cell phones, and if we could just have a quick opportunity to have a moment of silence. Thank you very much. Now I would ask you to join me as we do our first student performance, and we have Barbara Keaton with AISD that's going to be coming down and introducing our students that will be performing for us tonight.
Good evening, Dr. Cavazos and members of the school board. Tonight you see before you the Arlington Children's Chorus. This is AISD's audition choir, a very talented 5th and 6th graders from across the district. This choir began in the early 90s and has gone through a few name changes. Perhaps you will remember the Arlington Boys and Girls Choir, which was the most recent name before the Arlington Children's Chorus. Since its inception, this choir has sung locally and across the state, from TCU to the Meyerson Symphony Center, state conventions for TMEA, and for the Texas Association of School Boards. We have premiered several new works, both on their own, the choir, and with local college and adult choirs. Co-directors are Anne Marie Harmon and George Sepulveda. Ms. Harmon came to us 2 years ago from Indiana, where she conducted award-winning middle school choirs, and she now teaches at Mary Moore. Mr. Sepulveda is a product of Arlington schools, having graduated from Lamar High School. He taught choir at Ferguson, is now teaching at Atherton, and he is an avid music theater performer. Helping them is Ms. Catherine O'Neill from Butler, a first grade teacher who is their accompanist, and you will hear her tonight on a taped accompaniment track. And their assistant is Teresa Francis, who is music teacher at Butler. I've already told you that, so I'll skip that, Mr. Sepulveda, even though you deserve 2 introductions. Tonight, the children's choir is pleased to sing for you one of our favorite spirituals, Keep Your Lamps Trimmed and Burning.
Keep your lamps trimmed and burning. Keep your lamps trimmed and burning. Keep your lamps trimmed and burning. For the time is drawing nigh. Keep your lamps trimmed and burn your lamps trimmed and burn your lamps trimmed and burn. For the time is drawing nigh. Soon I will be done with the trouble of the world, the trouble of the world. Soon I will be done. The time is drawing for the time is drawing nigh. Drawing nigh. For the time is drawing nigh. Keep your lamps trimmed and burning.
That was amazing. Thank you very much. Parents, you have a lot to be proud of there. You can stay for the rest of the meeting if you'd like to. I mean, this first portion is the best part, I promise you. I'm taking it personal. Next, I would like to be able, this is a really, really cool part of the meeting also, because as everybody knows that we have Students of the Month. That's one student from every high school during the course of the year is picked. And these are remarkable, amazing students. And we have the luxury of being able to have two students that are going to be introduced tonight, one from Sam Houston and one from Venture. Students, when it's your time to be able to come up here to speak, we would love for you to introduce your parents, anybody that you're with, anybody that may be your mentor at your campus, and we'd love to hear what you would, any takeaways that you're going to be taking away from the AISD, and then also where you're bound in what you think your future career opportunities might be. With that, we're going to have the two principals come up. After both students are introduced, then the superintendent and myself will come down and be able to present you with certain awards. First, we would like to introduce our principal at Sam Houston High School, Fernando Benavides.
Good evening, Vice President Board, Mr. Hibbs. Good evening, Dr. Cavazos, Board of Trustees. This evening, I'm going to present to you Luis Roa, but before I'm going to say a few words about him, thank you for this opportunity to recognize one of our seniors this month. Luis is in the top 2% of his senior class. He got a perfect score on the reading portion of the ACT. He has been enrolled in advanced classes all 4 years at Sam Houston High School, pre-AP, AP, and he is a candidate for the IB diploma. And as you know, he may be eligible to receive 24 college credit hours when he does receive that IB diploma. He's worked really hard these last 2 years in the IB program, and he told me he's on track to earn that IB diploma, and so he's looking forward to that. As a member of the Business Professionals of America, he qualified for a national competition where he placed second on the web design team at the regional competition. Over the last 4 years at SAM, Luis has participated in Key Club, JK Living, Earth and Science Club, and he's a current member of the National Honor Society. Luis is a scholar, a student leader, and very popular on campus. He has been a member of our student council for all 4 years, and this year he serves as the senior class secretary. The student body has also elected him as this year's homecoming king. Luis also serves as the current president of the Avid Club. He has been a cheerleader for the last 2 years. He is a founding member of the Texan Dreamer organization we created 3 years ago, and he is a member of our Texan GSA Club. Luis is indeed an exceptional, driven, and model student who represents many other outstanding students who we serve at Sam Houston. And every month I meet with all the presidents in what I call the President's Roundtable. Leaders of all the clubs meet the last Tuesday of each month, and in these meetings, student leaders provide me insight into their learning experiences at SAM and bring issues that they would like for me to address. This also gives our student leaders the opportunity to collaborate on school-wide activities and initiatives. And Luis, he just cares about everyone. He cares about all the clubs, all the organizations, and this year, at the end of the fall semester, he organized a luncheon for our day and evening custodians and our security team. He's just an amazing young man that is just the model student. And as I stated earlier, Luis is an exceptional young man. I am proud to present to you Dr. Cavazos, Board of Trustees, Mr. Luis Roa Santoyo.
Good afternoon. Wait, this is where I say something? Okay. I prepared like a little thank you, so I will start now. Okay. As my senior year ends, I've had plenty of time to reflect on my years at Sam Houston High School. And I always think back to my first day of freshman year. It's all characterized by the awful blue outfit I spent a week picking out and the first classroom I ever stepped foot in. Room 1105 is home to the most eclectic collection of purple objects: a purple microwave, a purple desk, and a purple monster. Despite all these wonderful objects, the most important part of this classroom is the colorful stars that hang from the ceiling. Marked with the names of students who have graduated and the colleges they currently attend, these stars are a symbol of student success. But to me, the real stars are the reason for why my name will be hanging there next year. They are all over Sam Houston High School. They taught me osmosis, the rule of thirds, how to land the perfect toe touch, and they even direct traffic in the mornings. But most importantly, they have taught me the value of my dreams. Like stars, my teachers have guided me down the path of success. I was once lost and had no idea of who I could be. I want to thank all my stars. I want to thank all my stars for the love and guidance they have given me throughout the years. I probably would have gone through years doubting my hard work and dreams, but I can say with certainty and joy that I am deserving of every opportunity and love in the world. And it is all thanks to Sam Houston High School.
Very, very eloquent, Luis.
Thank you.
That's amazing. Do you have any guests with you tonight that you'd like to introduce? And then if you could share with us what your ambitions are as you move out and hit the real world.
So I have my Avid teachers with me. I also have my friends, my sister, my brother, and my parents, and Mr. B, of course. And as for, I'm an Avid, so college, our motto is don't ask me ask me where I'm going to college. And I've applied to 18 schools, and my dream school is Columbia University. I recently got waitlisted, so fingers crossed that I get in. But if not, I plan on going to UT Austin, and I plan on majoring in political science, government, and majoring in Plan 2.
That is amazing. Thank you for your leadership at your campus, because Mr. Benavides says as many kind words that he just gave with you. That's a huge compliment.
I'm honored to attend Sam Houston High School.
We're going to ask you to remain here. We're going to come down after we have our next student of the month introduced, and then we'd like to take some pictures, and we have a presentation for you, okay? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Now, our April student of the month comes from Venture High School, and I'm going to ask Mr. Meeks to come forward, if he could, and introduce Alexis.
Vice President Hibbs, Dr. Cavazos, and School Board. It was about 9 months ago I stood here, and I was very excited and energized. I didn't quite know what I was going to have in store for Venture. And boy, Alexis is a resemblance of who we are and what we are. Great things really are happening at Venture, and tonight is that example. Alexis is the epitome of a Venture student, a student that makes a choice for many different reasons to attend Venture. Some to get caught up, some to graduate early, some to find a place that feels comfortable for them to help them excel. We support all 6 high schools. We're a part of the District of Innovation. We're also a key piece of the being a premier district, as it help 100% students succeed. With nearly 100 graduates this year and 2,300 half credits, I tell you that because Alexis is nearing her graduation. She's been a major part of those credits. She came to us in August, and every time I walk through the classrooms daily, there's one thing you can count on. You can count on Alexis, focused on her work in her upper level math and science classes, and so she can choose her future. Her past hasn't been perfect. She may have struggled on an EOC. She may have struggled finding her place at Martin or what it might be, but she really enjoys Venture. We are proud of her. And so she's getting close. She's on the 26 credit graduation plan with an endorsement in multidisciplinary studies. She's a cohort 2019, so what that means is she's going to graduate more than a year early. It is my honor to recognize Alexis Stanford as Ventures Student of the Month.
Good afternoon. Unfortunately, I didn't prepare a speech today, but I would like to say that being here is such an honor, being in front of all of you guys. Without you and AISD, this would not have been possible for me. Today with me is my mom, my dad, and my uncle, and my friend, and my advisor, who has just been so generous to guide me and on the path that I needed to take and what I needed to do to take care of my credits, and she has been amazing. I'd like to thank my sister and my advisor teacher for pushing me even when I wanted to let go. As Mr. Meek says, my upbringing has not been perfect. Definitely had some struggles in the home, and it was hard growing up, but I never let my past be an excuse for my future. I knew that I could do anything that I set my mind to, and I'm standing here today proving that and proving to other students because I want to be a leader. I enjoy being a leader, and no matter where you come from, who you are, what your ethnicity might be, you can do anything that you set your mind to. I'm going to be graduating soon. My hopes was originally to go to Stanford University, and even though I didn't get accepted to them, that did not slow me down a bit. I applied to nearly 20 colleges from all over the U.S. I'm trying to get out of Texas. I've been here all my life. But I want to major in psychology, and I want to become a therapist. And so I'm so grateful to be here and to receive this incredible honor, and just thank all the people that have brought me so far, and to let me know and understand and help other students understand that just whatever you dream, don't let your past or anything be an excuse for your future.
Alexis, you didn't need to have anything written down. I mean, you and Luis, you can see that both of you spoke from your heart, and your actions demonstrates that your wisdom is so much more mature than your years. If we could all be as wise and understanding that we have the opportunity to overcome any type of situation, and you're proof. You're living proof of that, and we hope that you leave this district knowing that you've been supported, and also we'll be out there cheering for you and as you move forward. The superintendent and myself will come down. The superintendent will make a presentation that we have for both of you, and we'll take individual pictures. So parents, make sure you get your cameras ready. And once again, for our March and April Students of the Month. Just a student you're more than just a student within our district. You are somebody that you have said you like the leadership role. You like to be the mentor. There are going to be people that's looking towards what you've been able to accomplish, and they're going to say they have an opportunity for success. These we share with everybody to wear them whenever you have the opportunity. You might want to put this on your lanyard. I don't know if you can put it on your resume each time you apply, but but we do want to offer you this as a one token of our sincere appreciation for you.
Alexis, and thank you for representing our students exceptionally well. You spoke from the heart, as Mr. Hibbs said, and you, as you've said, that teachers have inspired you, but I guarantee you, you have inspired the adults as well. So thank you, Alexis. This is a little commemorative here for you, and wish you the very best in your future.
And now, Luis, you ready? You heard the whole spill about this right now.
Yeah.
This looks really good on your lapel, and I'm without it tonight, so I'm actually looking very derelict for this. But again, I mean, I see one of your counselors right there, your teachers, that says, we love dreamers, and the dreamers could be in so many different contexts, but you can tell by the way that Mr. Benavides, excuse me, said so many kind things about you. He had plenty to say because of what your service has been. That is indicative of what these pins are. So I do want to, from a board of trustees, I do want to give this to you and tell you with most sincere appreciation. Thank you for your leadership. Thank you for your zeal and zest for your campus, and may your pursuits be many.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And Luis, you heard this too, and I want to congratulate you. And we could really tell that Sam Houston loves you, but you love Sam Houston. And that love is something that we can never really forget. And once you get out of Sam Houston, you'll love it, I guarantee you, even more. So thank you, Luis, for being such a model student, and wish you the best.
You're a popular man. Thank you once again. Parents, you should be very, very proud. Teachers, counselors, principals, thank you so much for bringing us such awesome, awesome students. With that, we're going to move on to our next. It's the 2018 Learning Forward Texas District of Excellence in Professional Learning Award. Mercedes Myers
Hello.
is here to be able to make this introductions. So with that, Mercedes.
Dr. Cavazos, Vice President Hibbs, and members of the board, I would like to invite Terry Isles, the Executive Director of Learning Forward Texas, to come forward to present a special award to some of our staff.
Thank you guys for letting us be here today. Learning Forward, and I want to say, let me just also mention, this is the toughest spot to ever be as an educator, to come behind children and students of, oh my gosh, could you be in a worse place? But we are here to celebrate some of the best educators you have in Arlington ISD. Alita Driscoll is part of our board of directors, and she works in Arlington ISD as a leader in Arlington ISD. And I was excited because I was here last year with you. So you're the one district that has 2 years running with an award from us. And I didn't vote, even though I have friends here, I did not vote. But your district has established a precedent for adult learning. And what we know at Learning Forward Texas is that adults who learn help students become successful. And when you have learning adults, you have really, really terrific kids that are learning right behind them. And so your direct district, professional development is above, everybody in North Texas knows them well. So you guys can be very proud of the leadership you have in your learning. So I would like to ask these ladies to come forward. They are leading in new teacher training. They are leading in instructional coaching. They are leading in, last year you had technology people that were leading in instructional technology. So you guys are setting the way for districts across North Texas and across Texas. So with that, we'd like to recognize these great people that are here. And like I said, they are dear friends. They're a member of our North Texas area, Learning Forward Texas, of Learning Forward Texas, and of Learning Forward, which is the international organization. So we're very proud of you guys, and we're very thrilled to be able to give you this. So we have, I said most of them, I didn't even know they had a last name because I've only known them as their first name. Jessica Estelet, Hazel Bird. Yes, please. Renee Pope. Gaia Jefferson. And last but not least, Shannon Terry. Thank you guys for allowing them to do such a great job in Arlington and for letting them be such great leaders in our area. So we appreciate you all so much for being learning leaders.
And we appreciate you. I mean, we like to say that we can hire and retain the best of the best, and these women demonstrate just that. But to be able to have the outside recognition from your organization means so much, and we appreciate it very much.
Well, thank you very much. We appreciate them. So, thank you guys. Thank you.
Now, we are just moving right along. Next, we have no public hearing, which will bring us now to our open forum for agenda items. This is a routine part of the school board's agenda for regularly scheduled meetings. This segment of the meeting provides citizens with the opportunity to share their views with trustees on items that are on the agenda tonight. It is not intended to be a discussion or a debate, and trustees will not reply to the speakers. Derogatory comments aimed at an individual will not be tolerated. Personal matters are not appropriate subjects for open forum. I have one card from the audience. I'm sorry, this is going to be for the non-agenda items. So we're going to ask you to hold on just a minute, Ms. McAway. With that, we have 0 cards, so we're going to move on to our next item on the agenda, and that's going to be under action items. I'm going to call on the superintendent and allow you to introduce our speaker.
Vice President Hibbs, members of the board, you have before you the notice of election for the trustee election to be held May the 5th, 2018. The election is being held to elect members to 3-year terms for places 1, 2, and 3, and a member to complete the last year of a 3-year term for place 5 on the Board of Trustees. The notice of election shall be published in a newspaper, should be published in a newspaper published in the territory that is covered by the election at least once, not earlier than the 30th day or later than the 10th day before the election day. The notice of election shall state the date of the election, each place to be filled, the location of each early voting and election day polling location, the dates and hours of early voting, and the hours the polls will be open on election day. If you approve the notice of election, it would be appropriate to hear a motion at this time.
Do we have a motion?
Am I gonna have to get my cheerleading voice? Oh, okay, there you go. Okay, I move that we consider the notice of election as read.
Second. Second by Mr. Hogg. All trustees that are in attendance have voted in favor. As I mentioned, trustee Dr. Reich is currently getting additional credits, continuing education credits for his pharmacy license. Next, we move into our next agenda item, which is items to be withdrawn from the consent agenda. Are there any items that should be withdrawn from the consent agenda? Mr. Chapa.
Withdraw consent agenda item B.
Okay, Mr. Chapa, I'm sorry. That would, item B pertains to, and would you like to explain? I'm sorry. Considering donations. Okay, thank you very much. With that, any other items? Ms. Powell, would you like to come forward and share with us?
Vice President Hibbs, board members, Dr. Cavazos, good evening. We have 4 bids on the agenda this evening, and in all cases, the administration is recommending the lowest bids and the bids that represent the best value to the district.
Okay. Is there a motion to accept the consent agenda? Ms. Mays.
We accept the consent agenda with the, minus the withdrawal of consent item B, considering donations.
Ms. Walton. Hold on. Okay, so we have a motion by Ms. Mays, a second by Ms. Walton. Can we all vote? The motion passed 6-0 with all trustees, with the exception of President Reich not voting. Now, Mr. Chapa, would you like to bring forth your question on item B? I need to get you live. This is fun, guys, I'll tell you.
I don't have any questions on consent agenda item B. I'm requested that it be withdrawn for a potential perceived conflicts of interest.
Do I hear a motion? Mr. Hogg, second? Second, tag team. Let's say it's a second and a third for Ms. Mays and Ms. Walton. Do we have any other comment? Who's the second? The second is Ms. Walton. Thank you. I just want to shake things up here. Okay, so with that, we will all trustees, with the exception of Mr. Chapa, that are in attendance have voted in the affirmative. Mr. Chapa has abstained from this vote. Thank you very much. And with that, we now move on to our discussion items.
Thank you, Vice President Hibbs. Tonight, we'd like to bring a bond update for the board. This is a routine item that we provide an update on our 2014 bond, and Ms. Powell has the latest on our bond. Ms. Powell.
Thank you, Vice President Hibbs, board members, Dr. Cavazos. This is approximately a quarterly update we bring before the board to show you and the public where we are and in progress of our bond program. So as we all know, our bond program that was passed in 2014 consists of 4 distinct areas totaling $663 million. We have issued the first 4 trunkets of bonds, and so total issued to date, the projects to be funded with those total $620 million. Given our encumbrances, our expenditures to date, we still have $151 million of that total $620 million available to use. That $151 million will mostly fund project or phase 4 projects, construction projects, and the design work on phase 5 projects. So to date, again, of the dollars that are projects we have started, we have 77% of the projects underway, either expended or encumbered, and 23% of the funds for those projects still available. Looking at the fine arts area specifically, we are in year 4 of our purchases for fine arts. The bids for instruments to be purchased with the year 4 bond dollars will be coming to the board at the next board meeting. And once those bids are approved by the board, then we will begin placing orders for instruments to be here in time for the next school year to start. The Fine Arts works pretty much on a cycle where they work with the directors in the fall to identify needs, put bid packs together in the winter months, and then place the bids, award the bids in spring, and then process orders in time for delivery by the next school year. So that's the cycle they're in at the moment. So the instrument repair purchases are, again, a priority for Fine Arts. The Fine Arts Group also has been working on professional development and instructional planning related to our 2 Fine Arts Dual Language Academies that were funded through the bond program. We have just recently extended invitations for our new kindergarten cohort that will begin at the 2 academies next year. We've extended invitations to 88 students at each location. And so those positions have all been filled. So we have a total of 176 new kindergarten students that will start in our 2 academies this next fall. And again, the Fine Arts Group is working on instrument and equipment orders, as we just discussed, that are about to be placed. That group is also very engaged in the design work for the Fine Arts Center. We have meetings at least every couple of weeks with architects on different aspects of that project, and you'll hear a little more about that later. Just some program highlights that are in many regards tied to the work we've done through the bond program. We had 3 one-act play groups advance to by district, and Arlington High has advanced on to area. All of our non-varsity and varsity orchestras received sweepstakes awards this year at contest at UIL. And again, we buy a number of instruments through the bond program and have significantly increased access to students into these programs. And the quality of instruments that we're able to provide them is much improved through this bond program. And so this, we're beginning to see the results of those efforts and those purchases. The Sam Houston Percussion Ensemble performed in a musical showcase at TMEA. That group performed earlier at a board meeting, so we got to enjoy their music. The Arlington High School United Sound Group, which is a partnership with some of our special needs kids, performed at a clinic or presented a clinic at TMEA as well. And then the Sam Houston Mariachi group advanced to UIL state competition. Again, we're seeing the fruits of our investments in this area based on just the many program highlights that we're able to share each quarter. We have a couple of pictures here of an orchestra and the Sam Houston Percussion Ensemble performing. And in the area of safety, security, and technology, again, they're working out of their year fund pot of bond funds. We have spent $57.4 million of the total $82 million that was included in the bond program for this category. There's another $3.5 million on purchase orders right now, and there's $2.5 million of funds to be spent. Again, that's just of the dollars that have been sold, the bonds that have been sold for the first 4 years. Specifically regarding security, in the bond package, part of the intent was to upgrade security systems at all of our schools, all the camera systems. We were looking to take our percentage of coverage from roughly 35% of the campus up to 80% of our campuses. And so to date, we've completed those upgrades at 50 schools. That totals 2,191 cameras and 122 NVRs to record the data from those cameras. We have several projects that are in progress, 5 that are in progress, and then there are 12 sites remaining just for phase 4. There will also be phase 5 work next year that continues so that we complete all of our campuses. The security folks coordinate very closely with the network services group in installing cameras. The network services folks organize and plan and arrange for all the data cabling, and the security department comes behind them with the installation of cameras. So those two groups work very closely on scheduling. In terms of infrastructure, just in the past quarter, we've upgraded network infrastructure at 2 campuses. There are 9 more campuses that are scheduled for completion before the end of the summer. PA systems, there are 8 PA systems that we completed just in the past quarter. And then on our telephone systems, 15 campuses were complete in the last quarter. There are 3 more scheduled to go in this year. And our TI grants that Mr. Branham likes to highlight, for the 2017-18 year, we awarded 70 different grants across 37 campuses, and those grants totaled $1 million. And the intent of those grants is to create classroom models that provide engaging experiences for students, and then develop as well the staff, and have those staff members come back and provide demonstrations for other campuses across the district in the use of technology in the classrooms. So there was about $5 million allocated in the bond program for these TI grants, and so through year 4, we've now issued approximately $4.2 million. Also in the technology area, we're doing work in the classroom, and we are categorizing that work into 3 very distinct pieces. We have an AV standard, a teacher standard, and a student standard. So the AV standard, since the bond program began till now, we've actually implemented and installed new equipment in 61 schools. This is primarily projectors. At the teacher standard, all of the schools are complete, so all the teachers have their new standard, which is a laptop and a docking station. And in terms of student standards, we have completed the Chromebook piece for grades 3 through 12 across the entire district, and iPad carts for pre-K. We're working right now on providing additional iPad carts for grades K through 2, and they've divided that work into 3 phases. And so we're currently in phase 2 of that work, and the 3rd phase will complete this summer. Digital signage is another piece of the bond program that we're evaluating right now, determining what needs may be there. And the technology department spends a significant effort and a significant amount of time supporting construction renovation work, and everything from removing projectors and whiteboards while work takes place and reinstalling them. So they work very closely with the plant services group on that work. We're also in the middle of a printer consolidation project funded through the bond program. In the transportation area, again, we're in year 4. We have purchased all the buses and all the vehicles that have been scheduled for year 4. There were 20 buses that we planned to order this year. Those have all been ordered. The 3 that are regular ed buses should be here around the end of this month. And then the 17 that are special ed buses should be here in early June. So to date, prior to this order of 20, we've already ordered and received 79 buses. In terms of our white fleet, our maintenance vehicles and support vehicles, in the first 3 years of the bond program, we purchased 100 white fleet vehicles. 80 of those are replacements, and 20 are additional vehicles that we needed for growth in the district. In this particular year, year 4, we have ordered 25 replacement vehicles. All those are replacements. None of those are net adds. And you can see the breakdown here, the different departments we've ordered for. All those were ordered in February. We don't have precise delivery dates on those yet. In the area of facilities, we have $139.5 million of the bonds issued to date still available. Again, those dollars will mostly fund Phase 4 bond projects and the Fine Arts Center and the Athletics Complex, and the design work for Phase 5 projects. So at the moment, we have 106 projects active in various stages. 33 of them are in the architect's hands for design work. 2 of them are being bid, and then we have 51 that are currently under construction and 20 that are in the closeout phase. And we have 17 that are completely finished and closed out. You know, we divided all of the work from the 2014 bond program, all the facilities work, into 5 distinct phases. And so you see here the projects that were planned for Phase 1. We have the vast majority of those are either closed or they're in close-out stage. The Career Tech Center is still open. We're still finishing some punch list items on that, and obviously we're using the facility, so this one is very, very close to moving over into that closeout phase. We had the dedication for the Career Tech Center on February 10th, and we've got several pictures from that. That was we had a huge turnout. It was a wonderful event. The bistro at the Career Tech Center opened about 6 weeks ago. They're open now on Wednesdays for lunch. They take reservation only, and you can reserve a lunch time online. And so we encourage people to do that. This is going quite well for us. Next year, they will be open for more days at lunch. This year, they have a number of catering events. So since they're just starting up and they have a significant number of catering events that they're assisting with, they're limiting the lunch offerings at the moment to 1 day a week, but that will grow next year. Phase 2 projects, again, you see the breakdown here. We have a number that are in construction, and a few of these are in the early stages. Most are towards the latter part of their construction phases. And this is Crow, a picture of Crow Elementary. If you're very familiar with Crow, you know that very, very small campus, old campus on a little postage stamp lot in a neighborhood. This particular school, as we tried to add the security vestibule up front, we could not accommodate the security vestibule without making some major renovations to the office. The office staff had very limited space to begin with, so this turned out to be a very good thing. Before we started this work, the clerks actually sat out in the foyer area. They weren't even able to office inside the official office. And so we added an addition. We blew out the existing office. They moved in, I believe, right before spring break into their new office space. And so this has made quite a transformation on the look of the building as you even walk up to the front door. So we're very proud of that. We're very pleased with the transformation and the freshening that we've seen on some of our older buildings as part of this bond package. This is a picture of the addition at Ellis. Ellis was getting 2 new STEM labs, and we had to create an addition to accommodate those labs. and that work is wrapping up now. This is a picture of Sam Houston. This is inside the former cafeteria. You know, we've already constructed a classroom addition that is the home of our new 9th grade center. We've constructed a new cafeteria and a new kitchen and moved into that just prior to winter break. And now we are going into the old cafeteria and creating labs and classrooms there. And so these are some pictures of some of the classroom spaces in that area, and we are about ready to occupy those spaces. This is the Martin High School auditorium. And this work wrapped up a few weeks ago. I believe that the school has had access to the auditorium for about 2 weeks now. We've been training students on how to use the lighting and the rigging equipment on the stage, but this is quite a transformation for the Martin High School auditorium. Our Phase 3 projects, these projects are very much still in construction. And we have one project still in design, that's the Fine Arts Center, that will go out for construction bid in June. There's still a good bit of work to do there, but we have several pictures as well. This is Seguin. This is Classroom Addition at Seguin. This will be ready in time for the start of the new school year. This is Barry. Also, the space you see here is where we'll be adding classrooms, and this should be ready at the start of the school year. Amos and Atherton, these are pictures of a STEM lab, and then for Amos, and then for Atherton, you get a sense here of what new carpet in a K-pot will do to a room. It really freshens up the look of the room. This is Dunn Elementary. Their renovation work is wrapping up. The school threw a pizza party this past week for the roofing subcontractor because they went through the entire roof job and didn't have any complaints. And the school was very appreciative of that, so they hosted a pizza party for the roofing company. We have, these are more pictures of strings room at Pope and STEM labs at Wimbish. These projects are in their very early construction stages. This is mostly demo work that you see here. And Spear, again, this was part of that same package. Spear STEM labs, again, very early stages of construction. At Rankin, again, you see what a difference the new sidewalks and landscaping will make for the entryway to an older building. Key Elementary, again, in short, both. These are pictures of work that's taking place just in the last few weeks for their new STEM lab. So these projects are in the very early stages and still have a good ways to go. The silk fencing you see here, this is at Gunn Junior High. All of our junior highs are getting tracks. The board just recently approved the contract for the track package, and that work is underway throughout the district. Our expectation is our schedule will have us finished with the tracks by the time football season starts. So we're working hard and fast on those. The Phase 4 projects are in the very latter stages of their design work, with the exception of athletics. Athletics is about halfway through its design work. But these projects are going out for bid beginning now, and they will all be out for bid by the end of June. And then the Phase 5 projects, we've identified and hired architects for all of these projects. And so design work there is in the very early stages of reviewing the deficiencies identified through the facility assessment, walking the buildings, and just beginning to visit with principals about the needs in these schools. A lot of what is in Phase 5 are the administrative offices as well, and that was by design. We've left pretty much everything until the end for administrative offices. The carpet you see in our building is new. It was part of the bond program. We were having some real problems with carpet bubbling up in different places throughout the building, and we've been able to do that in phases beginning back with winter break. And so that's made a big difference just in the look of this building. In terms of hub participation for the contracts that have been executed to date, we have commitments of hub participation at that subcontractor level of 24%. And as far as actual expenditures that have been reported to date, we've actually, 17% of those expenditures have been with hub subcontractors. I continue to say, and will continue to say, we literally will be at the very, very end of the project before we know what that actual result is, because at the moment we're adding bigger dollars on the contract side, and the expenditures as they come in, obviously that work is done in phases over a period of time, and so until we get all the projects completely finished, we will not fully recognize what that actual participation is. At I think the second board meeting in February, we made a presentation about just hub participation, and we talked about our hub work, how we use hub as an incentive in the selection process for our projects. We have issued an RFP now based on conversations with this board to hire a consultant to assist us in determining what type of a program we can have short of completing an availability and disparity study. And so that work will take place once we get a consultant on board to help us define exactly, how extensive a program we can have without first doing a disparity study. And then that consultant, should we reach that point where we decide that that is possible, they would help us design what that potential program would look like. On March the 9th, we held a contractor symposium at the PDC for the purpose of highlighting the projects that are about to go out for their construction bids. We had all the architects there, they had plans, and we had 41 people in attendance. Those were contractors and in some cases subcontractors, and so they heard a presentation from us on what was coming up. We gave them a schedule as to when we expect to be bidding each of these projects, and then they could visit with architects and see the actual construction documents. We've done one of these each of the last 3 years, and we've heard directly from the contractors that they like this because this helps them schedule their work. There's a lot of work out there right now, and so if they know what's coming from us and when it's coming, they can do some longer range planning on what resources they may have and how they may want to target specific projects. So we have found this to be very helpful in terms of promoting participation in our bid process. An update then on the Fine Arts Center and the Athletics Complex. HKS is designing both of those. As we all know, they'll be built next door to each other on a site on East Division Street that is immediately south of AT&T Stadium. And so this work is very much in the middle of the architectural design process. The Fine Arts Center is a little ahead of the Athletics Complex simply because we started with it earlier. And we are at a point of working on finishes, interior finishes. And so we've had a couple of meetings with architects. They're continuing to address some of our questions about different aspects and different elements in the interior. So we'll be bringing that to you all soon. The athletics complex started at a later date. It is catching up quickly with the Fine Arts Center. They are approaching about a 50% completion of design development. By next week, the architects will send the designs to the cost estimator to update cost estimates and make sure that we're still tracking within our budget. We expect that the bids for these will be done through a competitive sealed proposal, and those will go out in June. And we anticipate that we will have that back and be able to award it in August and then begin construction in September. These buildings are scheduled to open in 2020, the summer of 2020. And with that, we'll take questions.
Do we have any trustees that have questions? With that, Ms. Powell, you made a great presentation. You carried the load for us tonight. We appreciate all the work that you have done and a great presentation. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Now, this brings us to the point of having open forum for non-agenda items. The second open forum segment of this meeting provides citizens with the opportunity to address the trustees on any subject except personnel. This is not intended to be a discussion or a debate, and trustees will not reply to speakers. Derogatory comments aimed at an individual will not be tolerated. I have one card from the audience. When your name is called, please step forward to the podium. You will have 5 minutes to speak. A lighted timer on the podium will assist you in pacing your presentation. A yellow light will illuminate when there is 1 minute left for you to complete your presentation. When the red light comes on, the buzzer sounds, please end your presentation. With that, I would like to invite Dave McElwee to come forward, and he would like to talk to us on safe schools in the age of active shooters. Mr. McElwee, welcome.
Thank you, Mr. President, Dr. Casos. Some of you were here the last time I was up here to talk about this topic, so they should be pretty familiar with you. Since that time, there's been a number of shootings nationwide. There was a time in America when nearly all school buildings were made of wood. The two-story high school that I went to up until the end of my junior year was basically made of wood. It had some concrete plaster stuff on the external side of it to make it look like it was made of concrete, but everything else was wood. The internal walls were made of wood, drywall. The floors and ceilings were made of wood. There were 2 sets of narrow wooden stairs, one for the up traffic, one for down traffic. There were 3 unmarked exits, one for the front door, one for the back door, and one for the side door, which was usually locked, supposedly to keep the inmates in check. There were 2 fire extinguishers. One was locked up in the custodian's closet in the 2nd floor. The other one was downstairs in the principal's office. There were no smoke detectors, there were no automatic fire alarms, and there were no sprinkler systems. In the case of a fire, and we never had one, students were taught to rapidly exit the building, walk, don't run. Near total reliance on fire drills, their total reliance was on fire drills, 2 per year. And also the quick response of the volunteer fire department. Re-entry into the building came at the behest of the fire department. By the end of my junior year, the large replacement high school was nearing completion. The new building had multiple exits clearly marked. If the building's electrical system failed, exterior lighting would work battery powered. The building was totally constructed of fire-resistant materials, steel, aluminum, concrete, and brick. The 2 sets of access stairs to the 2nd story were no longer narrow. They were 6 to 7 feet wide. Fire extinguishers were readily available throughout the building, including the science labs. Sprinkler systems was installed, smoke detectors, alarm, and automatic alarms. And fire drills were still conducted, even though no school had experienced a fire in nearly 100 years. Before I retired from teaching over 20 years ago, faculty and staff were taught how to use a CPR and the Heimlich maneuver. Later, in some schools, they were taught how to use a fire extinguisher, particularly in the science labs. Some schools required faculty and staff to learn how to use the defibrillator. Defibrillators now are common things in most public buildings. Some people griped about all this. You know, I'm not a nurse. I'm not an EMS specialist. Why should I have to learn this stuff? We've never had an occasion to use it so far in my career, so why am I doing it now? Now, how's all this talk relating to school construction and fire safety and life-saving procedures and devices? How does that relate to arming qualified school people to be in the schools? The active shooter protection in schools is still with us today. But we've approached this much like we did with fire safety in a piecemeal fashion. We put SROs in the high schools, we put them in the junior highs, but the elementary schools are still pretty much open season. Active shooter code words and alarms are used, active shooter lockdowns are used, and we simply can't ignore this threat, as some people think. They would say it's only a scare tactic and it'll go away. Ban certain firearms would be like banning fires in the old wooden school buildings. Instruct teachers, counselors, students, and others to report dangerous behavior. That's the approach we're making today. Problem is, not everybody reports. Since the Columbine, there has been 26 active shooter incidents in the schools. We live in an era of highly polarized, toxic society. According to Lieutenant Colonel Dave Grossman, a retired Army psychologist and the author of Assassination Generation, this toxic environment is being further fueled by computer games, TV, home environments, and so forth. We've got a problem, folks, and some of it is in the game called Call of Duty and Grand Theft Auto. If you haven't seen it, take a look at it. We've got a problem, and the way some people solve problems, we'll blow it away with a 38 or a 45 or a Glock 9. I'd like to have your liberty to give you another minute or so on this, please.
No, as courtesy from the chair, we ask you to finish within the next minute.
Pardon?
As a courtesy from the chair, we will ask you to finish in
Even in institutions are not immune, as happened out in California just 48 hours ago with YouTube. They got shot up. So people are not only mad at individuals, they're mad at institutions too. And this was not a kid. The threat will not go away. The last line of defense for our schools is an armed person. And it doesn't have to be a teacher. That's where the myth comes in. It could be a principal, assistant principal. It could be a counselor, a secretary, a librarian, a custodian, a cafeteria worker. But if a teacher wants to volunteer, they can. And this is volunteer. It's not mandatory. No coercion of anybody should take place within the schools. It's all voluntary. We have 7 school districts in Texas right now that have it, plus one locally, Pantego Christian. Secrecy as to who is given, has a weaponized with them is extremely important. But secrecy is very, very important. That no one in the building is to know who's carrying, other than people who belong to a select committee, which has law enforcement officers on it that are part of that committee. Secrecy is an extremely important part of this entire program. Things that don't work. It is not counseling sessions for the shooter don't work. It's not for a teacher to sacrifice their life to protect students. It's not a lockdown procedure as they had in Stone Douglas High School, which proved that a .223 bullet can easily go through a classroom door.
Mr. McAwee, I, in respect for you and your time, if
Let
you
me
would like
make
to,
just one more comment. The comment
very
was made-
quickly.
The comment was made by the superintendent of the St. Mary's County Schools, the most recent shooting. The superintendent of schools at Great Mills High School said that if you don't believe this can happen in your school district, you've got a lot to learn. Thank you.
Thank you. If you would like to give us any, your script, we're more than happy to pass it along. Okay, thank you. With that, we have no further cards. I would like to turn it over to the superintendent for his superintendent's report.
Thank you, Vice President Hibbs. And first, I'd like to start with AISD artists that were busy in the month of March. Early March, I attended a reception with the AISD Education Foundation for 5th graders who participated in Dream Makers Plate Project. Students designed ceramic plates and were auctioned off in the Education Foundation's Dream Makers celebration last month. The vision was for students to give back to the community through their artwork and to make an impact. The plates were creative and beautiful in both the reception and the celebration spotlighted our talented students. Next, two of our schools celebrated 40th anniversary in March, Morton and Ditto Elementaries. Morton Elementary celebrated its 40th anniversary and included student musical performances. And I'll have to tell you, the PE teacher at Morton Elementary did an outstanding job integrating the artwork, the performances, the music, did an outstanding job. The entire staff did, but that was really special. At Ditto, students performed, and many former teachers and principals attended to celebrate this milestone as well. So congratulations to Morton and Ditto. In early March, our Parent University Summer Resource Fair was held at the Dan Diaper Career Tech Center. A wonderful event, had parent workshops and resources for keeping students engaged during the summer. Thank you to all our community partners who attended, and also the Parent Community Engagement Department for their work planning Parent University. Next, congratulations to our 2018 Teachers and Department Employee of the Month, Ryan Trowbridge from Peach Elementary, Victoria McWaters from Workman Junior High, Michelle Fratto from Martin High School, and Brenda Gorman from Library Services and Seguin High School. We're proud of their work, and they do every day to inspire our students. And I'll just have to say that Michelle Fratto was quite animated, maybe is the right word, but that's kind of the way she is all the time, I guess. And so we appreciate all of them, and thank you for their service. One of the more emotional and exciting events we had this year was when TCU Community Scholars were announced at Sam Houston High School. This year, the school received a record 9 students offered $260,000 each TCU Community Scholarships, which now include a semester study abroad. So congratulations to these Sam Houston High School students, outstanding event, and thank you to TCU for their generosity and their wisdom in identifying talent at Sam Houston High School. And so thank you to them, and these kids' lives forever will be changed. Earlier this week, we held a former board member dinner at the Dan Diaper Career Tech Center. And we had a great evening updating our former board members on wonderful things that were going on in the district and bringing back memories of when they served on the board and all the fun that they had. And these members obviously laid the foundation and paved the way for many of the opportunities that are available today in our school district. Finally, the Kiwanis Club of Arlington honored our Teachers of the Year yesterday at a luncheon, awarding Kelly McCullough from Martin High School, Tanja Burdorf from Bailey Junior High, and Sean O'Connell from Butler Junior High as Kiwanis Woodrow County's Teacher of the Year. It was a wonderful celebration. Thank you to Janet Workman for her 19th year chairing the committee. This has been around longer than that, but she's chaired the committee and has held to a very high standard of participation and also recognition. So thank you to the Kiwanis Club. Congratulations to all our Teacher of the Year teachers, but especially our District Teacher of the Years as celebrated that day. That concludes my report.
Superintendent Cavazos, thank you. I mean, we've got some amazing things happening within our district, and what you were able to highlight is remarkable. Are there any trustees that have school board reports? Seeing none. Oh, go ahead, got one. Mr. Hogg.
Throwing you off schedule, Mr. Hibbs, but thank you for this. I usually don't have a lot of reports. One reminder, on April 21st, as Mr. Meeks is out here as our principal for Venture High School, they're hosting a 30th anniversary. Venture has gone all over the place in 30 years and is truly one of the most amazing schools. Every Friday, the graduations that occur out there. I know I had the chance about a month ago to attend one of the graduations. I encourage all my colleagues. I attended 2 years ago and then went to this one about a month ago, Friday, to watch the students, and still they have their own celebration and graduation. They're celebrating 30 years, and I can't imagine this district without Venture for students that are looking for something different than a normal historical high school, and we really appreciate it for getting those students to something to help them understand you have other options of how you can still be a graduate from high school. So very proud of everything Venture's doing. I encourage all, it's a come and go from 4 to 6 on April 21st.
Thank you for that, Mr. Hogg. I mean, you're amazing. What you're saying is absolutely right. Venture is an amazing campus, and it's a game changer. And Mr. Meeks, what you're doing there, we appreciate. You're continuing on such a work that is impacting lives in amazing ways. So I appreciate that, and we should all try to be in attendance. I also want to bring or remind anyone that may be viewing this that tomorrow or next Friday night is the education celebration at Six Flags. Tickets are available for our students, our parents, our employees to have a private night at the park where they can just walk on the rides and at a hugely discounted rate. Our schools have monies and dollars that are given back to the campus directly, and also the other funds go to the Education Foundation that awards our teachers with grants to do amazing things within the classroom. With that, I would ask Madam Secretary, do we have any items to consider? No. She said no. So with that, it is 8:24. I close this meeting.